HelloFresh takes the guesswork and the extra hassle out of planning and preparing delicious meals for dinner. America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh gives you over 40 recipes to choose from each week. And then your farm-fresh, pre-portioned seasonal ingredients arrive at your doorstep with simple instructions to help you feel like the master chef of your kitchen. And did you know that HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout? HelloFresh has been an awesome addition to our household's dinner routine. We all get involved and cook together, following the pictured step-by-step instructions. It's a fun quality time, and the meals are delicious. Give it a try and see for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, to get 50% off plus free shipping, go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Welcome to the Having It All podcast, the show about what it takes to live an abundant, loving life. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I'm helping you get out of your head so that you can truly have it all. Let's do it. Hello, hello. Matthew Bivens here, and I am so grateful that you're here hanging out with me on the Having It All podcast. This is the show where we talk about experiencing, creating, and living an abundant, loving life. I love talking about this stuff. I really do. It gets me pumped up. I don't think I can get enough of these types of conversations. A big part of it is because I'm watching you all put this stuff into action. I'm watching you when you reach out to me and you share with me your stories, and when we work together, or when I see you on the Balance Chart app. And so all of that is super inspiring, because I know that you're not just here to listen to me. You're here to take this stuff and apply it and experience some breakthrough, or maybe some healing, or simply some growth in your life. And I love that. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm happy that you're hanging out. If it is not your first time here, welcome back. Let's do this thing. Today's topic is so fantastic. We're talking about sex, and we're talking about the goal that you might have for sex, and how the goals that you have for sex are heavily impacting your experience of sex, but also how you experience yourself, how you experience your partner, how you experience love, maybe how you view love. All of those things are wrapped up in the goals that you have for sex. So I'm going to be sharing a few things, unpacking a few things, and it's going to be dope. It's going to be dope. But first, I got some magic to share. Always got to kick things off by expressing magic. And magical moments are when we've influenced ourselves, others, and life in an empowering way. And there's so much magic happening. And I have two examples. One of them small, one of them is big. And I just wanted to show you that magic looks different. Magic comes in all shapes and sizes. So the small magic I had is this morning I was on my way to hang out with a friend of mine. And before I was heading to her place, I stopped by the grocery store and picked up a couple of pieces of food. I wanted some fruit. And when I was checking out, the woman said, "Hey, go and grab a free bouquet of flowers. We've got some flowers over here, and you can have one if you like." So I thought that was so cool. I walk in the grocery store, get my thing, and I get to leave with a free bouquet of flowers. So I took a couple of those flowers and gave them to my friend whose house I was heading over to. And then later on in the day, I had the rest of the bouquet of flowers to give to Sarah. So that's total magic. That's the universe just dropping abundance in my lap. And what I love about it is that I was able to take that and then share it with others. And that's really what abundance is, right? You want to be able to receive it and then also know that there's plenty for everyone else. So that's one piece of magic. You can call that small magic, I guess. My big magic has to do with me becoming more and more aware of when I push the mute button in my life. So that's when I'm operating out of consideration rather than courage. So pressing the mute button means and looks like when I have some sort of thought going through my head that could result in me being bold, me taking some sort of bold action, whether it's saying something bold to somebody, speaking my mind, whatever it is, and I'm becoming aware of when I'm hitting that mute button and not acting out of courage, not being bold. So recently, I've just been intentionally speaking my truth more and more often. And I had a chance last night to speak my truth to Sarah. And it was magical influencing myself to do that because I was recognizing, this is a moment when you normally press the mute button. So I found that place inside me where that boldness lives. And I spoke my truth and shared, and, Sarah received it powerfully. And, it was scary, and speaking my truth and being bold and acting out of courage can be scary. But you know what? It's very much in alignment with who I want to be. It's actually in my mission statement. There's a portion of my mission statement that says being authentic with my voice and choice. So that's being authentic with my words and my deeds. So big piece of magic was me influencing myself to do that yesterday. So reflect on your magic. What magical moments have you been creating in your life? Because they're happening all the time, and they are so worth acknowledging and celebrating. So I encourage you to do that. I've got some listener love. And today's listener love is different because normally I'm reading an email that you sent me with some awesome feedback or an Instagram message, a DM or something like that. But today, you know what? I felt like I want to share some love with people who may not necessarily have been giving me love back. And what I mean by that is I have a couple of 1-star iTunes reviews, and I want to read them. And I want to use this space of listener love to show gratitude for these two individuals for taking out time to actually go on iTunes and leave a review, even if it's 1 star. So I have 2 here. They're actually from back in May. I guess I put out an episode in May that a couple folks didn't quite enjoy because these reviews came in on May 7th and May 8th. Both of them are 1 star. And the first one is from, actually the name of this one is kind of funny. Their iTunes name is Having It All My Ass. So they wanted to express their feedback, so they created a whole new iTunes account because I doubt that was their name before listening to this podcast. So they created the iTunes account, Having It All My Ass, and they just, they shared that they felt the show was a downright time waster, one of the worst podcasts, that they wasted 10 minutes of their life listening to it. And you know what? I absolutely have gratitude for you for giving the show a chance. I mean, you gave it 10 minutes. That's awesome. That's 10 minutes that you could apply to so many other things. So you gave it 10 minutes. It wasn't for you. And you actually went back and created this account and went on iTunes and left a review. So you gave it even more than 10 minutes. And for that, I am grateful. I am. And the other 1-star review comes from KDB Cool. And it talks about unfulfilled relationships and careers and says, all this states is that if you don't find what you need, leave. Such a bad moral standard. A big problem with today's society is exactly this. Sad and selfish. So I don't know exactly what KDB Cool, what you're referring to, but I get it that it didn't connect with you. And hey, I'm still grateful that you gave the show a shot. I don't know if you listened to the whole thing or just a portion of the episode, but you still gave it a listen. And that's amazing because there's so many other options out there, so many other things you could have been doing. but you decided to give the show a listen. So I do appreciate that, and I appreciate you jumping on iTunes. So, listener love doesn't always look like this, and love doesn't always look like this in general, but I definitely still have gratitude for folks, even when they don't agree with me, even when they don't like what I'm saying, even when I don't like what they're saying. There's still gratitude and appreciation. And so, I wanted to show that today. So if you want to leave a review, whether it's 1 star or 5 stars, you can do so over at iTunes, also known as Apple Podcasts. And if you want to engage in that way, I recommend subscribing to the show first, then leave a rating. That's where you kind of rate it the stars, 1 to 5 stars, and then leave a review. Tell me what you think. And, I'll read them on the show. I'll read all of them, whether they're 5 stars or 1 stars. It's all beautiful.
HelloFresh takes the guesswork and the extra hassle out of planning and preparing delicious meals for dinner. America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh gives you over 40 recipes to choose from each week. And then your farm-fresh, pre-portioned seasonal ingredients arrive at your doorstep with simple instructions to help you feel like the master chef of your kitchen. And did you know that HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout? HelloFresh has been an awesome addition to our household's dinner routine. We all get involved and cook together, following the pictured step-by-step instructions. It's a fun quality time, and the meals are delicious. Give it a try and see for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, to get 50% off plus free shipping, go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
So before we jump into the episode, quick announcement that the Trust Challenge is going to be returning on October 1st. Yes, so a lot of you participated in the Trust Challenge back in August, where the entire month of August, we were repping building trust within ourselves. And we were working on building that greater sense of assurance that we can count on ourselves. And we were doing that by making one deposit into our personal trust account every single day. The deposit could be something like starting your day with 25 push-ups, or doing 10 minutes of mindfulness, or drinking water first thing in the morning, or whatever it was. It was some sort of healthy habit. And a bunch of you did it in August. And so the experience was so fantastic. I got such amazing feedback that I am going to be rolling it out again in October. And I have a few updates. I'm going to be doing weekly themes. So week 1, we're going to focus on something like making physical deposits. Week 2, we'll focus on, let's say, making mental deposits or emotional deposits. So we're gonna vary it up a little bit, but we're still going to be making these deposits. Just want to make sure that they happen over the course of that month and touch all these important areas. So that's one of the things we're going to be doing. I'm going to have more touch points with you all and more tips coming your way. But I do want to know your feedback. I've heard from several of you already. I've heard from you. So if you participated in August and you have an opinion, which I know you do, share your feedback with me, because I'm going to be re-rolling it out on October 1st. I want it to be something that truly empowers you, inspires you, motivates you, gets you building that trust within yourself. So tell me what you would like to see. Specifically, I want to know one thing you liked. I want to know one thing that did not work for you. And I want to know something that you would change or add. So you can email that feedback to mattcbivens@gmail.com, or you can go on my website, matthewbivens.com, and just drop a note in the comment or the contact form. But share your feedback, and we're going to have, I'm not sure when this is going to go out, so it's the 20th when I'm recording it, So you might have a week or so to give me the feedback and I can incorporate it. But I will be incorporating your feedback. I already have. So Trust Challenge coming back October 1. Give me your feedback and we're going to freaking blast ourselves into this final quarter of the year with a greater sense of trust. Yes. All right. Enough stuff. Let's get into the stuff. Let's talk about sex. Boy, I've been wanting to do a sex topic for a while. I had done a few months ago, but it was like, it's time to talk about sex. So I really thought about, boy, what do I want to get into? There's so many different avenues to go down. And yesterday I was in a conversation with a friend of mine, and it's really fascinating. You know, we met for 2 hours and we were doing some work and having conversations. And then on the way to the car, as we were walking back to our cars, we started talking about sex. Because I told him I want to do a sex episode for the podcast. So we just started talking about sex, and we started talking about our paradigms around sex and some of our history around sex and some of the elements of our current sex lives with our partners. And one of the things that kind of came out of that conversation were us talking about our goals for sex. Like what is the intention that we hold for sex, for lovemaking? And that conversation was fascinating to me because, for the first part, neither of us were really thinking we were going to get into that topic. But once we did, we had so much to say. We had so much to share. So that tells me that this stuff is on our mind. It's on my mind, which means I know it's on your mind. And we had different goals. We had different objectives for sex. And, we kind of looked at the objectives of sex through different lenses. So over the years, my objectives for sex, the goals that I had, what I wanted to get out of sex has evolved. For many, many, many years, it was one thing. And more recently, it's kind of evolved into something else. But so that's where this topic comes from. And when I think back to my earliest sexual encounters, I lost my virginity when I was 17. When I think back to then, all the way through my 20s, approaching my 30s, the goal of sex was orgasm. That was always the objective. That was always what was on top of my mind, was orgasm. And for me, that evolved. It was really interesting. It started out as me being highly, highly focused on my orgasm in the sense that I wanted to experience an orgasm. When I was 17, I'm like, oh my goodness, this feels great. Okay, I want more of this. So let me experience more orgasms. And that's what was on my mind. And that probably persisted for the next couple of years. And then it slowly sort of evolved to, okay, let me delay my orgasm long enough so that she can enjoy herself. I didn't have a goal of her having an orgasm. I just wanted her to have some sort of an enjoyable experience. So let me delay. Let me hold off. Let me do whatever I need to do. Let me learn some tricks. Let me pinch off let me literally go down and just squeeze myself so that the orgasm stops. Let me pull out and breathe and bite my tongue. Let me do all these different things so that I can delay my orgasm so that she can have some sort of pleasure. From there, it morphed into let me be really focused on her orgasm and let me take responsibility for her orgasm. So then my mind was all about, it still had the delay factor in there, but it was let me delay long enough for her to get off, for her to come. And if I didn't, holy shit, the amount of shame and the amount of judgment that flooded into my mind the instant that the orgasm happened. And that sort of paradigm, the one that I just stated, me wanting her to have an orgasm, at least one, let her have one orgasm. As soon as she's coming, it's okay for me to come. That paradigm for me persisted for a long ass time. Maybe almost 10 years after my very first sexual experience. And so I think that's a common goal for men. I totally do. I think a lot of men have this goal in mind of orgasm, and it can start out being a self-centered goal. It can start out being, sex. The purpose of sex is my orgasm. It's for pleasure. It's for me to feel good. It's for my pleasure. And it might evolve along the same path that it evolved for me. And then in having conversations with women and in, really opening up to Sarah and other partners that I have, like, I really started to learn that a lot of women have a different goal for sex. Sex a lot of times has to do with duty. Sex is more obligation. It's part of the deal. It's part of what happens when you're in a relationship. It's part of making your husband happy. It's part of making your boyfriend happy. Sex can be how you show love. And I think that might be a common one for both men and women. Sex is how you show love. Okay, I love you, and I know that because we're having sex. And, I think for both parties, the goal for sex can be, the motivation for sex can be rooted in fear. I'm afraid that if I don't deliver in some sort of way, if I don't have the right type of sex drive, my partner is going to leave me for somebody else who can deliver and who does have a higher sex drive. So our goals for sex, when you really dig into them, they're fascinating. So interesting to see where those ideas and those beliefs come from. A lot of mine were rooted in fear. A lot of mine were rooted in inadequacy. A lot of mine were rooted in judgment. And so orgasm was the pinnacle. Orgasm, for me, for years, has been the barometer of sex. Was sex good? Well, did you have an orgasm? Yes. Did she have an orgasm? No. Okay, well, then the sex wasn't good. Was sex good? Well, did you have an orgasm? No. Did she have an orgasm? Yes. Okay, cool. Like, I can live with that. Was sex good? Well, did I have an orgasm? Yes. Did she have an orgasm? Yes. Whoa, there you go. Now we're having amazing sex because orgasm was the barometer. So, those are just two paradigms. Those are just two ways to view the goals of sex. I'm not saying one is right or wrong. I'm not saying that anything is mature or immature. Those are just two paradigms. There are others. There are absolutely other perspectives you can have on what the goal or the intention for sex is. And for me, moving from a place of being focused on orgasm to moving to what for me has been this next phase has been a huge shift in sex, in intimacy, in how I view myself and my role and my power. And that has been moving to a place of the goal is more around connectedness. The goal is more around connection. Connecting with myself and connecting with the other person. From that connection creates intimacy. So that is where my mind is at today. I'm playing for connection. I'm playing for intimacy in the vast majority of my sexual experiences, my sexual encounters. And with the connection piece, I'm really about connecting with myself. And what does that mean? Because that's an interesting thing. Why would you try to connect with yourself when you're having sex with another person? Well, as I become more aware of my thoughts and the beliefs and the scripts that run in my mind on autopilot, I become aware that in sex, for me, when I'm in that incredibly physically vulnerable state, emotionally vulnerable state, when I'm with another person, when I'm making love, when I'm connected in that way, a lot of shit comes up for me. A lot of stuff has come up and still does come up. These feelings about my self-worth, these feelings connected to confidence, inadequacy, all sorts of really fascinating things come up. And so for me, when I'm connecting to myself, when I'm connecting with my heart, those things either don't come up, or when they do come up, because I'm connected, they don't linger. Because in the past, those things would come up and they would stay there. They would get into my mind. I would move from acting from my heart, and I would move up into my head, and I would be so caught up in my head about don't come, don't come, don't come. What does my body look like? What do my moans look like? Oh my gosh, I sound ridiculous. Is she even enjoying this? You know what? I'm looking at her face. I don't really see a response right now. She must not be enjoying this. This is because XYZ reason. Holy shit. Why is she even with me? All of that stuff, it snowballs. That's what I used to do, because when I was not connected, those thoughts and feelings would run rampant. So now when I'm stepping into the bedroom, when I'm looking to be physically intimate, I'm also looking for that emotional intimacy with myself. I'm looking to get connected to that part of me that is that powerful part of me. I have a word for it. I call it beast mode. When I'm connected, when I'm really like that connection is there, like plugging that USB into the back of your computer, or like in that movie Avatar when their ponytails like connect with whatever other being, like that type of connection for me, that activates beast mode within me. It brings that out. I know what that connection feels like. It's a beautiful thing. It's a powerful thing. And that's what I'm playing for now with sex, with lovemaking. I'm playing for that connection. And it starts from within me. And then from there, I can connect deeply and fully and intimately with my partner. And then when that happens, the goal of orgasm is gone. I am not attached to orgasm. Some of my most incredible, transformative, healing, magical sexual experiences, I did not come. And I was so perfectly fine with that. And that happens more and more frequently, where when I get into that space of being able to connect and feeling that connection and operating from that space of being connected, then an orgasm is a wonderful icing on the cake. It's like, if it happens, amazing. If I want to create that, amazing. I'm all about feeling that energy. If it doesn't, perfectly fine. Because that connection is so rich and that connection is so fulfilling. And I was talking about the trust challenge and filling up your tank, making those deposits. Well, that connection for me, being in that beast mode, that is an instant deposit. That's an instant tank fill up for me. And at that point, I don't need the orgasm to make me feel as if sex was successful. All that shit goes away for me. And when I'm in that space, when I'm playing for that connectedness, then sex really opens up what it can be, the possibilities for sex. Sex is about, working on myself. It's about figuring out my sexual identity. It's about expression. It's about me being bold and courageous with how I express, with the moans and the different sounds that come out. With the words, with the things that I say to my partner. It's about really just being that person that's fully expressed. Sex becomes about mindfulness. It becomes about this present moment right now. Everything else melts away, fades away. When I'm playing for connection, what I can create within sex is limitless. When I'm playing for orgasm, it's a very different story. And I did that for a long time. I have a lot of experience playing that story. Not because I have a lot of sexual partners, but because I have a lot of years of repping that same goal. All right, orgasm. All right, let's get in there. Let's make an orgasm. So then I would do so many things. I would masturbate before sex. All right, if I get one out of my system, then it's going to take me longer to get hard and to build up for the next one. And you know what's funny? That stuff is in movies. I think it was in not Adam Sandler, that Ben Stiller movie. He's about to go on a date with Cameron Diaz, and his boys are like, "Yo, you can't go out on a date with her with, I don't know, what did they say, like one in the chamber, something like that, with a loaded gun." And then he goes and jerks off in the bathroom. Like there's a reason why that was funny. It's because it's true. Because we do that so that we can last longer. We try all these little tricks. And why do we do that? Because the goal of sex, the mark of successful sex, is orgasm. Let's evolve that. Let's evolve that. We're playing for abundant, loving lives. Abundance in the bedroom is not counting orgasms. It's not. Because for most guys, when you have your orgasm, okay, now you're spent. Like, you're done. I think it was Miles Davis who says, I would fight Muhammad Ali after he comes because he's going to have no energy because he's spent. That's just what happens with dudes. We release that energy and that essence, that life force, and a lot of times we're spent. So how are you going to experience that abundance in the bedroom if your goal is orgasm, and when you're complete with orgasm, you're spent? Play for something different. You play for connectedness? Awesome. You can always go deeper in your connection. You can always go deeper in your intimacy.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.
And there's levels beyond connection and intimacy. I've talked about them a little bit before. I've talked about that abundant love paradigm, where sex is no longer about pleasure. It's no longer about duty. It's no longer about procreation. Sex becomes about healing and empowerment and sustainable joy. The things that sexual energy can and does activate are mind-blowing when you begin to not just study them, but when you begin to put things into practice and be intentional around sexual intimacy. But for right now, let's just focus on moving from a place of the barometer of sex is orgasm to something more powerful. In my opinion, that's connectedness. That's intimacy. And going inward, connecting with yourself first and foremost. When we use orgasm as a way to measure whether or not sex is successful, quote unquote, or not, a lot of times what happens is we get caught up in these roles of the giver and the receiver. And so what can commonly happen is you want to make sure it's tit for tat. You want to make sure that whatever they do to me, I need to do back to them. If he gives me an orgasm, I have to give him an orgasm. Because orgasm is what you have as your pinnacle. That's what you put on the pedestal. So if he goes down on me, I have to go down on him. And then, what if you don't enjoy going down on him? Okay, well, don't go down on me. And it's just tit for tat. Sex is about evening the score. A lot of people have felt that way. I've totally felt that way. If she goes down on me now, I'm like, all right, well, I got to go down on her now. Go back to some of those goals of sex I mentioned earlier. I'm talking about pleasure and orgasm, but another goal, another intention, another paradigm around sex is duty and obligation. That's what I'm talking about now. You go down on me, and now I feel obligated to go down on you. And then what's interesting is there's other beliefs that can spin from that. Well, if you go down on me and I don't go down on you, well, shit, now I feel like I just solicited you. Now I feel like I'm somebody who just kind of, threw you a $100 bill on the street corner and said, come over here and service me. And flip that around. If I go down on you and you don't please me, you don't, reciprocate, well, then now I feel like a prostitute. because I've just gone down and serviced you and you got yours and then I went about my business. That's what happens. That's the shit that happens when we put orgasm as the goal of sex. But when we talk about connectedness, when we talk about intimacy, oh my gosh, I can go down on Sarah for hours and have no expectation of her touching me because I can create connection with myself and I can create connection with her. I'm playing for connection. It doesn't matter what happens. I can create connection through intimate massage. It doesn't matter what happens. So see how the paradigm through which you view the goal of sex not only influences how you feel about sex, it's going to influence how you feel about intimacy. It's going to influence how you feel about giving and receiving. It'll influence how you feel about love. We're in love because we have sex. Oh shit, we're not having sex, we must not be in love. We're in love if we're having good sex. Good sex is the marker of a powerful, loving relationship. Oh my gosh, I had an orgasm, but they didn't. What does that mean? See, that shit has like really deep tendrils. It can weave its way around so many things. So I want to share with you, I want to like wrap this up by sharing things that I have done to move myself from this place of sex being about orgasm and sex being about duty to sex being more about connection and intimacy. Because there's been some very specific things that I have done and that I continue to do that have helped me to get to a different place and create different sexual experiences, but also create different experiences in how I relate to myself. One of them I've mentioned on the show before, and that's orgasmic meditation, or OM, O-M. So I have been practicing OM. I've been practicing orgasmic meditation for over 2 years, maybe even 3, I don't know, 2.5 years, we'll just say. And OM is a powerful practice. There's an activity, there's action involved, and it is sexually intimate, but it isn't sex. And OM is a way to be in that sexually intimate space that where it completely removes the pressure from orgasm. Because in OM there is no objective other than that connection. So I'll let you go and research OM. I actually did an episode with one of the co-founders of the brand that really pushed OM out into the mainstream. His name was Robert Candell, and I did an interview with him, which published back on July 25th of 2018. It's called Sexual Consciousness and Vulnerable Masculinity with Robert Candell. So go check that out because we talk about OM. We talk a lot about orgasmic meditation. And, it's a practice that I recommend to the clients I work with. It's a practice that I share with friends who are, when we get into conversations about their sex lives with their partners. And, OM is connection. That's what it's about. It's about connection. And the practice itself, like I said, there is no orgasm. We're not playing for orgasm at all. It's even timed. There's even a timer with orgasmic meditation. You sit there for 15 minutes. So that's one thing that I've been doing, and I OM at least once a week. I OM about once a week. So, no, I won't even say at least. I would say right now it's probably at most once a week. So one OM a week. I've been doing that for a number of years. Another thing that I've done is I've gone back and I've taken like a mental audit of my sexual history, so to speak. Like I've thought back to how did I view sex when I first started having sex? And where did those views come from? And what kept those views alive? And, with those views, what were the goals then that I had for sex? How did those goals make me feel about sex, make me feel about myself, make me feel about my partner, make me feel about intimacy and love and relationships? And, I know that for myself, porn played such a huge role in all of that, in how I viewed myself, in the purpose for sex, and how people are supposed to show up in sex. It was just a huge, huge influence in my life. And in porn, almost every single porno ends with an orgasm, does it not? Mostly the dude. You don't know every single time the woman has an orgasm in a porno, but you know every single time the dude does because it's shot somewhere. They show it to you. So that was ingrained in my mind. So what I've done is I've gone back and been like, wow, okay. One of the reasons why I feel like the goal of sex is orgasm is because that's what I watched for so many years. That's what I repped for so many years. Holy shit. Okay, that's where that pair, like I'm tracing it back. I recommend think about doing that for yourself. The third thing that I did or I do now is I set intentions for my sexual experiences. I set intentions. My intentions today are about connection. They're about manifestation. They're about healing. But I'm very intentional when I step into the bedroom with someone. And yes, there's spontaneous sex. Sarah and I had amazing spontaneous sex today. I didn't necessarily sit down and be like, what am I playing for right now? But the majority of the time I do. I say, okay, what do I want to create? How do I want to show up in this experience? What do I want to experience? From physical things I might want to experience to the connection types of things I want to experience. You know, I want to be able to activate beast mode with like the snap of my fingers when I'm walking around the grocery store. Just to be in that state of that energy flowing through me. I'm not talking about walking around with a heart on or anything. I'm just talking about like be in that state of just being like, shit, you know, I'm that sexual god. Like have that feeling flowing through me. So when I'm, you know, about to make love and beforehand when I'm talking to who I'm with, it's like, let's put some things like out there for intentions. Let's set those intentions. That right there ensures that I'm not going into this with orgasm as my goal. Because in my intentions, there's nothing about orgasm. I do not say, I want to have one orgasm, I want you to have 4. Hell no. Absolutely not. So setting intentions and having those intentions be around connection, around manifestation, around healing, around intimacy, around whatever, absolutely is repping, moving from that goal-oriented sex paradigm to this connected sex paradigm. So that's what I've done, and I will leave you with a couple of action items. I want you to just think about what your current goals are for sex. Where are you coming from? What paradigm are you coming from? Are you coming from the pleasure paradigm, where it's all about orgasm? Are you coming from the duty paradigm, where it's about obligation? It's about this is how we show each other love. Just think about and understand the current paradigm that you're coming from. Because that paradigm is influencing what goes down in the bedroom, or maybe what doesn't go down in the bedroom. It's influencing how you feel about sex in general. It's influencing how you feel about yourself and your sexual self, and it's influencing how you express. So let's just become aware of it. That's one simple action item. Another action item, I totally recommend go and listen to that episode where I talked to Rob Kendall about oming, about orgasmic meditation. Go check it out because it'll give you just a different paradigm. It'll just give you another way to view sex and intimacy and sexual intimacy. You can also go on Google and Google search orgasmic meditation. There's an amazing TED Talk that Rob's business partner, Nicole Daedone, gave all about orgasm. And then you can also go to their website, I think it's com. Let me just double check. I'm on my computer right now. No, it's actually onetaste.us. ONETASTE.US. You know, it's amazing. I'm looking at their homepage right now. And the tagline says, wellness just got interesting. And it says, experience, connection, intimacy. Boom. Go check them out. It's just going to be more along the lines of what I've been talking about, giving you a different context, different paradigm to view sex and intimacy. It's amazing. And your third action item, this is for those who want to be bold, who want to put in some physical reps. engage in sex or some sort of sex act where orgasm is completely off the table. Just remove it from the table. So whether that is actual intercourse, great. Maybe it's a lingam massage. Maybe it's a yoni massage. Awesome. Maybe it's just a sensual massage with your partner. Whatever it is. Maybe it's going down on one another, but stopping before orgasm. Whatever you do, just engage in some sort of sexually intimate act where you take orgasm off of the table and see what comes up for you. That'll help you generate that awareness around your current paradigm. When you remove orgasm from the table and you say, we're not going to have orgasms tonight, then you're going to be thinking, well, then what are we here for? Oh, shit. So maybe my paradigm around sex, maybe the goal of sex for me has been orgasm. Wow, interesting. So get into those experiences and practice mindfulness. Let's be aware of the thoughts and the feelings that come up. What do you notice about your partner's body or your partner's breathing? Or maybe temperature. We heat up when we're in these moments. Use that, once you've removed orgasm from the table, use this act to really tune in and tap in. I know that there's going to be some amazing things that happen when you examine what it looks like to create intimacy without the pressure of orgasm. Gosh, if one of my partners had just said in one session, like, hey, Matthew, I want to make love, but let's just totally remove orgasm from the table. I don't even know what my brain would have done. I'd been like, what? We can do that? That's a thing? Holy shit, that would have blown my mind. So I invite you to practice that. I invite you to give it a shot. And, this has been a cool episode to record because I did some prep for this, and it got me thinking about myself. And it got me thinking about my past. And my desire is that you think about yours as well. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I would love to receive some feedback. Email me, mattcbivens@gmail.com. Hit me up on Instagram, Matthew_Bivens. Go to my website, matthewbivens.com. Go to the contact form. Just get in touch. Share with me your feelings. I know you are having them. Fellas, I know you're thinking about this stuff. I know it because I am. Because my buddy was. And we're walking to the car and we're talking about this shit. Like, I know you're thinking about it. And women, I know you're thinking about it as well. You're right there. This stuff is coming up. So let's just go and, I don't know, explore. Let's allow new beliefs to come in. Let's wear on new paradigms. Just see how they fit. Especially if this episode makes you uncomfortable. Especially if the ideas I've presented make you feel nervous or anxious or whatever, then that's definitely an area for you to dig into. Go in. Some amazing things will result from it. So, all right. Thank you all for joining me today on the podcast. My name is Matthew Bivens, and here is to you having it all. Quick note about the Having It All podcast. I am not a doctor nor a licensed therapist. I'm a guy with a story and a passion for conscious conversation. My thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are my own. So please consult with your doctor or healthcare provider regarding any questions or issues you have related to your personal, physical, or mental health.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.